Oh, don't mind me. I'm enjoying the benefits of having freeze-dried my raspberries. I made raspberry lemonade drink because I got a super great deal on raspberries. We're now going to freeze-dry them and create these wonderful little tasty morsels that are just like this. They crush. They taste just like raspberries. They're not like the dehydrated kind. This is a wonderful flavor, and we're gonna do some powder. So let's go get started. Okay, so we've gotten a bunch of raspberries on sale, and this is the last batch of the fresh that I'm doing, and basically I'm just putting them into a tray and switching out with the trays that are in the freezer right now in order to stick those in the freeze dryer, but they need to freeze first before you put them in the freeze dryer. It takes less time to process through if they're pre-frozen, and it will also help if you're doing a bulk of something that's as finicky and delicate as raspberries are. Freezing them ahead of time to process later is the best way to go ahead and do it, especially if you don't have time. Then you can take advantage of the sale, get these started, and then process them. So we have our fresh going right into the freezer. Then here is some of the pre-frozen raspberries that I have. What I basically did was stick them on these trays into my freezer, and then as they're frozen I pull them out, and they are what's called flash frozen, where they're able to freeze on their own and not stick together. So then as I get a tray ready to go into the freeze dryer, I can just load this up. I'll leave that as it is, and these will go back in the freezer to fill up the next load. And so, you know, I got approximately 2.5 of those little pipe containers of raspberries onto one tray. So let's go get these into the machine. And let me thank Harvest Right Freeze Dryers for sponsoring this video. I received one from them not too long ago, and I have been enjoying using it all along. I will leave a link for one down in the description box below if you're interested in getting one. And while I'm putting those things in the freeze dryer, let me say hi. I'm Darcy from the Purposeful Pantry, where we talk about dehydrating and other ways to preserve food to stock our pantries for our families. Today we're talking about taking advantage of a grocery store sale where I got raspberries for an incredible price for my area, but you can also then take advantage of sales on anything else that you have, or learn to use all of what you make and save it all instead of having any waste. So let's get back to it, shall we? So here are our finished raspberries, just like that, and then they will just simply crush just like that. It looks so funky and tastes so much better. This is better freeze dried than dehydrated for sure. Okay, so here we go. I have these raspberries now. As they're done, you can see the color on them. I am getting a little bit of sticking on the tray, which tells me that I probably should go ahead and purchase silicone sheets for this, because some things may actually stick. But there they go. They are just beautiful. They taste just like raspberries. They're a little tart, they're a little sweet. They crush just like that. That's what they look like, crush, and it tastes just, it's amazing how these taste compared to what dehydrated raspberries taste like. I've always said that dehydrated raspberries are best as a powder than as trying to snack on, because they become kind of paper-like. But they're good to put in things. I just wouldn't eat them by themselves. These are worth snacking on. How gorgeous is this? This is beautiful. I don't want to mess these up. They're so pretty. So let's make some raspberry powder out of what's here. That powdered up in almost nothing flat compared to dehydrated. And I'm not trying to do this as dehydrating is worse. It's certainly not, but this is just the difference. There is our powder. All right, so what we're going to look at right now is a little bit of rehydrating to see how things work. We're rehydrating some raspberries right now, some raspberry powder, and then this is dehydrated raspberry powder, which is a little older, so the color has changed a little bit, but it never gets the vibrant red that this gets, or the pink, fuchsia, magenta, whatever color you want to call this. So we're going to rehydrate these because I have a theory about what rehydrated powders will work like. Don't judge the raspberry powder for dehydrated, because this is, I said it's a little older. It's been on my shelf for a little while because I haven't made more recently. This is what happens if you have powders for too long. They start to lose their color, they start to lose their flavor and nutrients because the processing exposes them to more of the elements that makes food go bad. See, I wanted to show you as I poured this out into a bowl, catches all the seeds, and now you have just powder with no sediment at all for seeds. Okay, what we've got is still quite a bit of sediment at the bottom of our, oh, get that right in there. There's quite a bit of sediment in the bottom of our bowl with the dehydrated. Dehydrated doesn't dissolve in the way that my theory was that the freeze-dried was going to dissolve really well. So you still have quite a bit of the fiber left here because the process is just different about how the sublimation works with freeze-drying versus how it dries in a dehydrator. So you're left with the fiber at the bottom that is just the bulk. If you have it in a tea bag, it won't matter, like a reusable tea bag, but you're still left with quite a bit of sediment. It will get soft, you can still drink it, but it's not a pleasing texture. But with the freeze-dried, that powder becomes completely dissolved in your drink. There you go with that. Now let's look at our raspberries. They aren't completely rehydrated yet. They're getting mostly there, but we're going back to a soft raspberry. Now would I eat this as like you would eat regular fruit? Probably not. But if you're going to put it into bake or to make a pie or to make some raspberry muffins, this is perfect. It rehydrates well enough to do that with no problem whatsoever. Okay, after we've done that, I'm just going to show you how I made powder. And if you do this, just take a fine mesh strainer, okay? Something super fine that will let the powder go through like a sifter, but it needs to be, and then you can just do this, let your powder go through, and it will catch all of your seeds right off the bat. Keep going. Raspberry tea whenever I want it without buying raspberry tea. Yes, please. Look at that. Look at that color. It is just beautiful. Okay, now we're going to work on a little bit of equivalency because it works a little bit different with freeze drying than it does with dehydrating. So I'm going to put approximately 1 cup of raspberries that are freeze dried, which is the equivalent of 1 cup of raspberries that are not. Okay. There's our cup. Now granted, this will always be managed by volume and density of the food because raspberries are not very dense, so they're not going to put off as much powder. But we're still going to do this so that you can see what the equivalency is. So it's a scant 1/4 cup. All right, so how can you use things? Raspberries can be used back into rehydrated, just like you would if they were fresh. I actually crumbled this into some yogurt. I'll put a photo of it right here so that you can see when I have for breakfast. I think it's great. I love doing it, and I can't wait to start doing blackberries as well. So then how we're going to use the powder today, you can use this to color icings and breads and anything like that. Also, this drink mix is a lemonade concentrated drink mix that my son loves. We keep it over the counter for him because he's the only one who really uses it. But this is a cool way you could do this to ginger ale or Sprite or any other kind of drink like that. We went ahead and mixed up our concentrate, and we're going to add about a 1/2 teaspoon, 1/4 teaspoon of the powder, and just mix it in. And what you have here is a nice glass of raspberry lemonade. So this does dissolve better than regular dehydrated raspberries do, which will form a clump of fiber at the bottom. This mixes in much better for drink mixes and things like that. So yes, if you're asking, this is the cheese we just did. I don't have a video up yet, but it will be coming. So I'm just excited about all the things I've been working on. I've been playing with this thing like crazy since I got it. If you want to see how I did zucchini with a freeze dryer, you can check this video right here. And until I see you again next time, keep preserving and enjoy it.